Okay, now we got a part 3 to the same one, and I'm sorry if it looks like I'm fucking dick riding this dude's nuts a little bit too much with so many videos about it, but, I just was watching that first one again, and I didn't really get into, like, the mechanics of what exactly he does, because I'm not that stupid about what, I know a little bit more than what it seems like in the video, but, yeah, one of the things is the share buyback thing, which I don't 100% get, but he does a lot of different things. He does creative, like, basically when he finds a company that he thinks has more potential than it's showing, and a lot of times it'll have, like, shitty-ass leadership, that's kind of like the basis of what he does, is, like, if you get, if you buy enough of a company, I don't even know how small, you might be able to do something similar on like a really small level, because what you do is you get into a position in the company, and at that point you go to the meetings, the board meetings, and there's a way to like get elected onto the board, and I think the way he does, I think he just has a lot of pull, and he can just say like, yeah, these are Carl Icahn's people, we're running for a board seat, and that's how they win them. But who knows, maybe you could go in there and plead a really good case, and maybe you get the shareholders on your side, because with these companies, you have, you know, the leadership of the corporation, and then you have the shareholders, which are the investors, and that's two different things, and there's sort of a, it's what he likes it to be called, or whatever, and it really sort of is different, because they claim in the Time magazine, they're like, yeah, it used to be corporate raider, that's what it was, and now it's called activist investing, and it might be a little bit different, but it's the same basic concept. But now it is like a little, it's more different. I don't know. It's basically going in there and like getting your say, unlocking some sort of potential the company has. Like when you can look at a company, and this is another thing I forgot to put in there. I read another article before about the dude where he like, it was like showing how he finds his deals and stuff like that. They were like, yeah, how do you like do what you do? And he tells the story behind like some of these big deals that he's done recently, and he's like, yeah, man, I was like, you know, reading the newspaper, and I noticed whoop-de-whoop, and I saw that this was going on, and he's like, I mean, he gets his information like from the newspaper and probably online and stuff, just regular. I mean, that's why it's so crazy that it's just basically some dude, and he's really good at what he does now. But one of the things, like, with eBay, what his whole case was, is that it is, I mean, I agree with him, too, on this, that eBay is, does have a lot of potential as a company. Like, these are there's a couple of different issues that he was hammering on. One of them is that they are, have a lot of potential, and they have a lot of value as far as their history and brand and all that. There's value in that, and there's a lot of potential. And I don't think he was noticing more of a general macro, just looking at eBay, and this doesn't surprise me either, that somebody else was noticing the same, because I mean, it's got to show, like, on looking at just the whole thing from far away, there's got to be, he was noticing issues there. And I'll tell you straight up, the eBay.com sales part, or the, you know, online sales, that is, like, seriously, your management and just everything going on is losing you a ton of money, and you could be making a lot more money. So that's, I mean, that is like really cool how you can just use your money to go into a company and just like ride the ass of fake ass butt kissing, like stupid ass corporate fuckers who are just like, I mean, being corporate, it's just when people say that, they're talking about just non-creative, like that whole corporate rise to the top by being a fucking piece of shit, backstabbing asshole that steals ideas from people or whatever they do, you know, because somehow it's like you're basically like, you got that job because you, like, your homie hooked you up with that job. It's like who you are, like who, it's, he's cool because he takes a situation where some dude is in there because of his connections or whatever and has nothing to do with his abilities, and he says, you know, what the fuck is going on here, bro? Like, I'm a shareholder and I'm representing the shareholders here. We have a problem. Houston, we have a problem and I have a solution. You're gonna, you know, I have people that I choose. We're gonna put them on the board and see what's up. You know, they're going to plead the case. Like, they're not doing it. It's not like they're doing some forceful, like, they're going over just taking over shit. It's like, you know what? I got some people who have make some good points and have some good ideas. And I think that the shareholders may end up seeing it the same way I do. If we have a chance to just plead our case and have a few minutes to just, you know, basically bring reality to light. I mean, that's pretty much all it is. Like, you just have to have enough balls to be like, hey, did you notice that, you know, you lost like $3 billion on that Skype deal? Like, you know, you bought a company for $1 billion and you sold it. Or, I can't remember the exact numbers on it, but basically they paid like $1 billion or something for it. And they turned around and sold it to Microsoft for, like, just barely over what they paid, or maybe a little bit less or something when everything was said and done, expenses and everything. And Microsoft turned around and I think sold it, like, a year later for, like, several billion. I mean, there was it was a nice flip. You know what I'm saying? If you can take a few billion, and then when he started digging into it, it was people that knew people. I mean, there was people... It was a buddy-buddy type situation, plus it was, like, negligent because he found out that they actually had proof that they knew it was the problem with Skype was something that could be handled, and that's basically, I mean, they sold, like, it's basically if you had, like, a car, maybe you had an F-150 pickup and the spark plugs weren't changed for a long time, and, you know, it didn't run or whatever, and you sold it off to a dude, a homie that knows, oh yeah, the spark plugs are really a bitch to change on those. So a lot of times they get left in there like the whole lifespan of the vehicle till they eventually fail. So all I got to do is change those plugs and I got a friggin' $4,000 truck, you know? So it's like if eBay sold the F-150 to Microsoft for like $1,000 and Microsoft changed the spark plugs in it and sold it for $4,000, that's basically what happened with that. So this dude, like, gets in there, and then with PayPal, he starts, like, calling him out because, hey, you know, you bought PayPal, and they're, like, where all the growth is in this company. So, you know, maybe it's time that we split those apart into two so PayPal can do its thing and basically succeed without you pulling it down. And then you guys can basically fail or whatever you're going to do because it's not really anyone's problem, you know. I'm sure PayPal would love to just be like its own deal because that is a bright company with a future or whatever, and eBay's doing whatever it can do to survive, and I don't know. So yeah, he kind of goes into companies and he like fixes problems. Like he can walk into a company and do something within a couple months and like double his money. I mean, he did that like on Dollar Tree too. I think he bought... He's smart because he does options. Like, he knows how to find the good options and really make more money than just buying a stock, because somehow he bought Dollar Tree and it was Dollar Tree or Family Dollar he bought, and when he started, he had like a 3%. I think he put like 300 or 500 mil into it. And then I read another article like a couple months later and it said, hey, Carl Icahn, now he like tripled his money or quadrupled it. Now he owns 10% of the company. And I remember thinking back like, wait, he only invested like 300 or 500 million. How the hell did he more than double his money on a rise of like 5%? The stock went up by like 5% or 10% or something. And he like tripled his money and suddenly went from like 3% to 10% ownership of the company. And now he's doing all this other shit, trying to unlock money in there. So, you know, that's pretty cool how he does that. And he does actually, you can buy shares in his fund for like $135 each, which I didn't know till I read that Time article. I did, but I forgot about it. So, like, I might buy a couple of those shares just to kind of get in on the ground floor and just get in with what this dude's doing, because I support the way he does what he's doing, you know. And I think he gets a bad name. I think he just gets lumped in there with all the other like Wall Street type, you know, Mitt Romneys and all that shit. I think what he does, and I really don't even know if it's about them, it is about the unlocking value, and the numbers are what basically tell you that you won, so it's kind of hard to not really be about money when you're in the financial trading industry, you know, like, you're not really going to be a success if you lose money. It's not like you're going to be like, oh, you know. So, but what he does now, I think it's a positive thing. I think what drives him now is just getting in there and just being at the pinnacle of his game to the point where he can have people, I don't know where he finds his people, but he must just track them down, because I bet you he has people that are just like really badass and go in there and just get shit done, you know what I'm saying? So, cool job, cool little profile on some guy who's doing what he likes to do. He made it, you know, and he's just like basically keeping it real, so you gotta, you know, give him props. All right.